What do you get when you combine talented but forgotten Ubisoft devs, writers found on Reddit, and an impossible dream? Trauma. You get trauma. This year, Sandfall Interactive, a French video game studio with many former Ubisoft developers, released Clair Obscur Exhibition 33, a unique turn-based combat RPG taking inspiration from games such as Final Fantasy and Persona. And when I say unique, I really mean it. The game has a plotline I've not heard of before, which is hard to do nowadays. Set in Lumiere, a fictional world dominated by a giant monolith with a glowing number on its face. Every year an entity called the Paintress appears and lowers this number by 1, and when it does, everyone of that age or above simply vanishes. The game follows a group, Exhibition 33, on a quest to destroy this mysterious being, and let me tell you, I was not prepared for this opening scene, but we'll get into that later. Upon release, people have flocked to play en masse, and it's gone on to sell a staggering 3.3 million copies in 33 days. So what brought this dark horse into the light, and why did it do so well? Well, it all starts with this cheeky chappy. In 2020, when the pandemic was at its most shit, Broche was working for Ubisoft, but found himself just like millions of others around the world, bored of his job and couldn't help but dream of doing something bigger. He'd had his mind set on creating his own role-playing game inspired by Final Fantasy, a much-loved classic of many, but over the years has somewhat lost its charm. So when starting development, he did worry that because of the decline, the need for that kind of game just wasn't there. But despite the doubt, he persevered and went on to one of the few places where passionate people lurked just waiting for a spark: Reddit. And wouldn't you know it, people responded. One of them being Jennifer, also experiencing the joys of lockdown on the other side of the world in Australia. Jennifer answered his post requesting voice actors to record something free for a demo. She thought it sounded fun at the time and sent something in. And from there, she went on from a small free audition to lead writer. Over the next 5 years, Guillermo and his small team worked on the game, with it eventually growing so big he left Ubisoft to found Sandfall Interactive. With motivation, a strong vision and support, the team quickly went from 1 to 30 people, with many of them never even having worked on a game before. And they actually credit the pandemic's boredom lending itself to the game's success. And what a success it was, but this wasn't without its challenges. To anyone who's worked in a small team or business knows, you're required to wear many hats, and this involved people doing far more than their job description. For an example, Jennifer even helping to translate the game into multiple languages. While the team was although junior and inexperienced, they were passionate, and with this passion and the support from Clair Interactive, they were able to bring in big names. We've got Andy Serkis, Jennifer English, Charlie Cox and Ben Starr, just to name a few. And with all this support and progress, over 5 years the game was created and finally released. It sold 1 million copies in just 3 days, topped Spotify's spiral charts with its soundtrack, and even caught the attention of the French president. Ooh la la! But what makes it so great? Well, first is its storyline. From the very beginning, we're thrown into a totally unique world on the day of the gamage. We meet 32-year-old Gustav saying goodbye to his former lover, Sophie, who had just turned 33, and tragically is erased along with everyone else of the same age. With only a year left to live, he joins Expedition 33, hoping to confront and defeat the Paintress. The story, as expected, revolves around Expedition 33, whose goal is to defeat the Paintress and end the streak of trauma. I wasn't lying in the beginning, the intro to this game is absolutely brutal. Here I was, admiring the trip down to the docks and marvelling at all the beautiful visuals, and then suddenly everyone is erased. Je ne parle pas français! This was totally unexpected, and obviously I don't want to spoil anything, but along the way you'll meet more interesting and zany characters, and their journey is anything but smooth sailing. Then we have the voice acting, and dear God, what a lineup we have to start with. Andy Serkis, one of the most talented actors who has worked on a huge number of projects. Charlie Cox, Ben Starr, our girl Jennifer English, Kirsty Ryder, and the list goes on. With a high-level lineup, you need to have good quality writing too, which luckily the game excels at, with the language between characters being really natural, which altogether created an insightful story with characters you can really connect with. Now let's talk combat. Turn-based combat is a large part of the game, and when receiving hits you need time to dodge or parry abilities in order not to die. And while I really love turn-based combat, this is something I thought was a little bit frustrating. Maybe it's just me, but I just could not time it right. Maybe it's because the moment I chose to take a refreshing sip of my drink, that's when I suddenly got attacked. Thanks to its relatively shorter length though, the combat system maintains a sharp and engaging edge throughout. And the interface that you use is really nice as well. It's very smooth, very sleek, and ultimately it doesn't make battles feel like a chore. There is some room for trial and error involved in learning these patterns, but it does challenge you, which means that you have to learn and ultimately grow as you progress further in the game. And when you do get it right, it's really satisfying to have a slow motion camera show your powerful attack. So lastly, I'm probably going to just talk about the visuals, because these really do require a special mention. Oh my god, the sheer creativity of this game. The environment is absolutely beautiful from the start, and as you go on and traverse through the different biomes and design, there's always something really nice to look at. And with visuals like this, it shows that real care has gone into the game with a team passionate about their craft. I think there's so much more I could say about this game, but as an overall summary, this is a really inspiring story of an idea that became so much more. And it goes as an inspiration to others. Whether you're a team of 1 or 10, a masterpiece can come from truly anywhere. Remember to subscribe, comment and like for more like this. Help my algorithm, please. And I'll see you next time.